My professor hired me as a naughty maid and is uncomfortable now, but I need him to get over it. I'm in my early 20s and he is at least in his mid-30s. I work for a cleaning service that offers exposed or lingerie-clad maid service. There is no love-making or touching, and if boundaries get crossed then the client is struck from the client list. The client can ask for a type, hair color, race, weight, age, gender, but they cannot pick a specific maid. Their maid is assigned by the company. Both client and maid have the option of using a fake name, and pictures of either party are not provided. Any institutions the clients and maids are linked to, school or work, are also noted so something exactly like this doesn't happen. All of this is done for confidentiality. Clients can request after the first session that the same maid comes back, but that's it. I'm explaining this to show that it is impossible for him to have requested me or known it was me beforehand. I got a message from the company saying a nearby and anonymous client had requested a lingerie-clad maid and I was his type. I went, in jeans and a t-shirt with the lingerie underneath so he didn't see anything, knocked on the door, and my lecturer opened it. I realized what had happened and said that the agency typically filters these things out. Clearly there was an error, and I can stay and be professional or I can get him another maid, but whichever he chooses, we should both just forget this. He asked for another maid, so I called the office, explained, and left. The office says due to computer and human error, no one clocked that we are linked with the same school. I had to go into school a few days ago along with some classmates and we ran into him. He was awkward, uncomfortable, wouldn't look me in the eye, and refused to even directly address me. We ran into him again later that day and it was the same, if not worse that time. We also had some classes at the end of last academic year, after the mix-up where I ended up at his place, and I was similarly ignored, though I attributed this at the time to the online format of the classes. This would just be one of those things, except I have classes with him all next year, as well as private meetings with him to discuss my studies. These have to be done with him, are compulsory, and can affect my grade. While I know that I can act professionally, I am concerned that he cannot, as it has been several months and he has still not passed it. I am putting a lot of time and money into this, and if this is indicative of how he will act for the remainder of it, I feel I will not get what I paid for it and that my grade will suffer. I do not know how best to progress. I cannot afford to let my grade come to harm, but talking to him might make things even worse. Any advice? Update, he reported me. I booked a meeting with him during office hours so I could clear the air, as was suggested on my last post, and then followed it up with an email that simply said that his school is starting up again, and its final year. I'd like a chance to meet with him to talk about my paper and make sure he approved of the topic before I launched into it, something that is completely standard and everyone else is doing, but was somehow enough to panic him. The maid service I work for also offers completely clothed maids, so from what I can gather he's gone to the uni saying he paid for a fully clothed maid, and only went through this service because of their extensive vetting, but when I showed up I offered to do it exposed in exchange for extra help on my dissertation. He said no. Obviously this is bull crap, and I got the recording of the phone call I had with work and gave it to the uni, which was enough to stop the investigation, but I couldn't get his payment records to prove he paid for lingerie due to the anonymous payment system, and any more than that would require a legal case, which I can't afford, and even if I did manage to stay here I would still have to be in his classes as they are mandatory, but at the same time my uni have basically said that they can't put me in his classes after this because I have essentially been accused of intimately harassing him. He must have reported me the second I sent in my meeting request, because I got the email from the person dealing with this literally less than a week later. I have no clue what in the world he's thinking. I'm assuming he thought I would report him and decided to get ahead of it, but even that makes no sense as all I did was request a meeting. Whatever his logic, I am dropping out. I am 1 year off of completing my degree, so I've submitted some inquiries about transferring to nearby universities, but because this has happened right at the start of a new school year it's going to be 10 times harder than it would be if this happened over summer or last year. The only upsides are that I've not actually been expelled or suspended, so I won't need to explain this to anyone. The uni seemed fine to just let me go quietly, and another lecturer is writing me a reference. The agency have also said they will blacklist him, and they share this info with other services, so hopefully he won't be able to do this to anyone else. Just Jesus Christ. Adding that I have had a free consultation with a lawyer and I will not be pursuing legal action. The best case scenario, where I win, my name is cleared, and I can stay in this uni. My profession will still be outed, I will be shunned by classmates and staff members, and my lecturer will continue to be a jerk, and I'll be staying at a uni that have confirmed they will throw me under a bus to save a weaselly prick. Even the best case scenario will also earn me a black mark next to my name in academic circles.